18-year-old Aldi Novel Adilang had been working as a fisherman for 2 years. In 2018, he set off on another routine job, 6 months out at sea. But on July 14th, everything changed. A powerful storm hit, snapping the anchor that kept his small fishing hut in place and dragging him deep into the open ocean. His vessel had no motor, no oars, just a small wooden raft drifting farther and farther from home. A supply boat was supposed to bring him food and water every few days. But after the storm, no one knew where he was. With only a small amount of food on board, Aldi started rationing what he had. But it didn't last long. Once it was gone, he went back to fishing, surviving on whatever he could catch with his bare hands. Fresh water was even harder to come by. Eventually, he resorted to drinking seawater, filtering it through his clothes to make it slightly less salty. When the fuel for his tiny lamp ran out, he began tearing pieces off his own shelter just to keep a fire going. Over the next 49 days, more than 10 large ships passed by, but none of them saw him. Stranded, starving, and desperate, Aldi started to lose hope. He later admitted that there were moments when he thought about ending it all. But somehow he held on. He said prayer gave him strength, and it's what kept him alive through it all. Then, on August 31st, something unbelievable happened. A cargo ship on its way to Japan spotted him. Aldi was rescued, alive, drifting in the waters near Guam, more than 1,200 miles from his home in Indonesia. When 73-year-old Robert McDonald went missing from his home in Maine in May 2013, a search was launched right away. Robert, who had Alzheimer's disease, had wandered into a nearby forest and couldn't find his way back. What's truly astonishing is how far he managed to go. So far, in fact, that even search dogs and a helicopter with thermal imaging couldn't track him down. 2 days later, while a local news crew was doing a live report about the case and urging the public to help, something unbelievable happened. Just moments before the broadcast began, a man slowly walked up behind the crew, hands in his pockets, his steps unsteady. That man was Robert.
We won't. How are you?
Good.
Yeah.
Anybody give a phone call?
Calling the warden service. There's the.
I'm still on the phone.
This is Bob. This is you identify him as Bob McDonald.
I think so. It's Bob McDonough. Yeah.
He looks a lot like a
Watch
guy.
yourself. Watch
Yeah.
yourself here, sir.
Yeah. That's Bob McDonough.
How are you?
All right.
Good. How you feeling?
Perfect.
I'm Jerry, man. Been looking for you for a while.
He walked right up to the journalists and confirmed who he was. In the footage, he tells the police that he isn't hurt and feels okay. It's believed he got lost in the woods and somehow managed to find his way out 2 days later. But to this day, Robert has no memory of why he left, where he went, what he ate or drank, or even where he slept.
Is everything, Aaron and Shannon, and good news and a happy ending right now. The gentleman behind us you're looking at, that is Robert McDonough. We were doing our last live shot at the bottom of the hour, and we saw a gentleman just kind of walk up.
6 hours after 2-year-old Cammy Wicks went missing from a hotel near a dense forest, her mother finally raised the alarm. Temperatures were pushing 40 degrees Celsius, and police began scouring the thick brush of the Brazilian savanna. They followed what looked like the child's footprints, but the dense vegetation made it nearly impossible to see anything in the video footage. The search went on for over 8 hours. As daylight started to fade, hope was running out. But the rescue team pressed on, marching in formation, calling out her name. Along the way, they had to push through thousands of snakes and spiders crawling through the undergrowth. Then, finally, they heard it, a clear, desperate cry. Leaning against a tree was little Cammy. She was dehydrated, exhausted, and starving, but somehow still alive, and miraculously unharmed.
Where is she? Where is she? The child has been located.
Later, police revealed that the girl had actually gone missing the night before, but her disappearance wasn't reported until the next morning. To this day, no one knows exactly what happened in those missing hours, or how she managed to survive the night alone in the wild. At around 8 p.m. on September 30th, 2021, 3 children ages 6, 6, and 7 were reported missing in the Flamingo Lake neighborhood in Montgomery, Texas. According to the parents, the kids had gone missing after they went into the Sam Houston forest and wandered off the main trail to go play in a creek. After the disappearance was announced to the public, the authorities launched a massive search that included helicopters, dogs, drones, off-road vehicles, and hundreds of police officers from multiple law enforcement agencies. The next morning, an anonymous Good Samaritan who was very familiar with the layout of the woods decided to take matters into his own hands and went into the national forest by himself to find the kids. At around 9 a.m. on September 31st, the man found the kids and called 911 to bring the body cam.
Come on, can y'all come to me? Come to me. Yeah, come to me. There's an opening right here. Come on, kids, come to me.
They wouldn't let me in over here last night, so I just took off around the back. I've been looking all night long.
Yes, sir. I have all
Jesus
3
is good,
children.
ain't he? Ain't Jesus good?
He's good. Kids, I'm the police. Are y'all ready to get out of the woods? Come on, buddy.
Let's get out of here. You got cheeseburgers in your car?
We're going to get something to eat. Okay? You want to hold my hand? We'll get out of here.
Even though the kids were found just a little over a mile away from where they entered the woods, they had still been lost for over 24 hours, and pretty understandably, they were hungry. As it was later revealed, the kids had spent the night in the forest, sheltering themselves under a fallen tree until the volunteer came to rescue them, which is why they had leaves and branches in their hair in the footage.
Here, let's pick this. Grab hold of that. There you go.
You're really strong.
Am I really strong?
I don't think
Lose your shoe? I got you.
Even though they had spent the night with minimum shelter and hadn't had anything to eat for 24 hours, the children still seemed to be in pretty good spirits as Sergeant Smith escorted them out of the woods, and toward the end of the video, he can be seen guiding them to the clearing where a bunch of cop cars sit waiting for them.
Thank you, fellas. Y'all got it? Come on, kids. Let's come out to the road. Whoa, good. What? There you go, buddy. Look at you. You made it.
It's honestly pretty terrifying to think that if they hadn't been found then and there, the kids would have probably ended up succumbing to the elements, but thankfully, they were able to get back home to their parents. This unbelievable rescue was captured on video during the final hours of a massive search effort in the village of Broncaster, England. 75-year-old Peter Pauk had somehow gotten separated from his group during a beach walk around 5 p.m. and disappeared. As night fell, he ended up lost in a dense, swampy area. At first, rescuers thought he might be hiding or avoiding them, but in reality, Peter was stuck, trapped in sharp, thorny reeds that tore at his clothes and skin. The ground beneath him had started to sink, and he couldn't move. He spent the entire night like that, alone, freezing, and unable to escape. It looked like he was clinging to the reeds just to keep himself from sinking even deeper. He wasn't found until nearly 22 hours later, just in time. Rescuers say if it hadn't been for the drone filming the area, they might have walked right past him. Steve Ronan, the creator of this video, was looking for a thrill, so he set out to explore a deep underground cave with his research team. After descending far below the surface and moving deeper into the tunnels, they stumbled onto something horrifying. A little girl, alone, scared and crying, was sitting in the darkness deep underground. The team cautiously approached her, trying to ask how she got there, but she didn't speak English.
I don't know. You speak English? No English.
No?
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay, come with us.
Hey, Josh.
They urged her to follow them, but she was terrified and hesitant to move. It seemed like she had gone missing and somehow ended up taking shelter in the cave to escape the cold. That was the only explanation the team could come up with. What happened to her afterward, and whether her parents were ever found, remains a mystery. Either the information was never released. On May 8, 2021, a woman named Molly Perales was driving along Packer Drive Northeast which runs beside the Rogue River in Belmont, Michigan. She was accompanied by her 2 roommates, and the group was heading home after a night out, still in high spirits. That mood, however, was shattered when they came across something deeply disturbing. At around 2:30 a.m., near the area of Rogue Hollow Court, one of the passengers spotted a strange figure standing by the roadside. The sight was unsettling enough to frighten them, but it also piqued their curiosity. After a brief discussion, they decided to circle back, and that's when they saw it, up close.
What the
Stop. No,
Stop.
I'm not. No. Hell no.
What the
Oh. They were soaked.
There, in the dim light, was what appeared to be a young woman, completely soaked as though she had just emerged from the river. She seemed to be crying, striking her head against the pavement, and motioning for help. Molly recorded the encounter and later posted it on TikTok, where it quickly went viral, sparking wild speculation about ghosts, spirits, and other supernatural explanations. But as the theories multiplied, Molly released follow-up videos explaining what had actually happened. According to her, they drove past the distressed woman several more times after filming, trying to make sure she was all right. None of them were brave enough to approach her directly, but they did contact the police and waited nearby until officers arrived. The woman was transported to a hospital for treatment of cold exposure. It was later discovered that she had somehow entered the Rogue River from its eastern bank and swum across to reach the road.
Yep, she had to have come up out of the water. Yep, there's a dig spot there. So she came up from down there. That's had to have been why she was so wet. This was the spot that she had left. I don't know why or what was going on.
After regaining some clarity, she told them she was from Kalamazoo, a city over 60 miles away. She had no memory of how she had ended up in Belmont or how she fell into the river so far from home. Evidence suggested she may have been experiencing a severe mental health crisis, specifically a rare condition called a fugue state. A fugue state causes sudden memory loss and can lead a person to behave as if they are someone else, wandering long distances or engaging in uncharacteristic activities without realizing it. Often triggered by extreme stress or trauma, the condition leaves the individual with no recollection afterward. In this case, the symptoms matched almost perfectly, especially since authorities later found her car parked behind an unfamiliar house east of the river. She had likely driven there herself, but retained no memory of doing so, consistent with the disorder's known effects. Seeking more answers, Molly posted her video in a local Facebook group. Most replies were unhelpful, with neighbors attributing any screaming or noise to wildlife such as coyotes. However, a few responses added intriguing details. One person recalled seeing her earlier that evening between Van Dam and Packer Woods, around 10:15 p.m., and asking if she needed help, only for her to reply no. Another resident said they'd heard about a woman entering a neighbor's house, calling out hello 3 times, and then leaving without explanation. These accounts supported the fugue state theory, but didn't answer the biggest question. Who was she? Molly reached out to the police and hospital for her identity, but both refused to disclose it. Still, there was enough information to make an educated guess. Based on available details, the woman was most likely Mei Zhou, a 28-year-old from Kalamazoo who had been reported missing on May 6, 2021. Before vanishing, she had told friends she believed she was being stalked by someone she met online. Whether the stalker was real or a product of paranoia remains unknown, but the ongoing fear and stress may have triggered the fugue state that led to her disappearance. Hopefully, she later received the care she needed and has since regained stability in her mental health. 82-year-old Ho Van Tang and his 42-year-old son, Ho Van Lan, were discovered, completely by accident, by residents of a nearby village in Vietnam. Shocked by what they saw, the villagers alerted local authorities, who quickly organized a search team to investigate. After 5 hours of trekking through a dense jungle, the team stumbled upon a small, handmade hut. Inside were Tang and Lan, wearing nothing but simple loincloths made from natural materials. They had been living in complete isolation for decades. Despite everything, both men were still able to speak a local Vietnamese dialect. Authorities soon learned the full story. Back in 1973, during the Vietnam War, Tang's home was destroyed in an airstrike. His entire family was killed, except for his 2-year-old son. Grief-stricken and afraid, Tang took the boy and disappeared into the jungle, believing it was the only way to survive. And they did. For over 40 years, they lived off the land, surviving on fruit, leaves, and whatever nature provided. After receiving medical care, officials began the process of helping them return to modern life. But after so long in the wild, that transition wouldn't be easy. In the Andes Mountains, a tourist who had been missing for 4 months was finally found alive. 58-year-old Raul Gomez from Uruguay vanished during a snowstorm after his motorcycle broke down while crossing a remote mountain pass. For months, there was no trace of him, until a team of Argentine geologists, flying over the area for a research expedition, spotted something unusual from their helicopter. They were measuring snow levels in a rugged region over 9,000 feet above sea level, when they noticed an old wooden hut. Inside was Gomez, alive but severely weakened. He had taken shelter in the abandoned cabin, believed to have been built long ago by mountain workers or explorers. In order to survive, he ate whatever scraps he could find inside, and when that ran out, he caught and ate rats. When he heard the sound of the approaching helicopter, Gomez, desperate and barely holding on, managed to open the door and wave for help. The geologist quickly alerted authorities, and Gomez was airlifted to a hospital. After 4 brutal months alone in the mountains, he had survived. Hannah Anderson, a 16-year-old girl, was kidnapped by James DiMaggio, a 40-year-old family friend. He abducted the girl and hid with her in a wooded area somewhere in California. The girl was reported missing. After 5 days of searching, a lead came from horseback riders. The riders were passing along the forest and spotted the two of them. Suspecting something was wrong, they called the police to report a strange pair hiding in the woods. The riders then led the police back to the campsite where Hannah had last been seen. An FBI helicopter was dispatched, and from that moment on, every step of Hannah and her captor was tracked. At one point, Hannah spotted the helicopter and signaled for help. She continued waving her hand, pleading for assistance, while the kidnapper, unaware, turned his back and approached the fire. Hannah bravely and discreetly signaled to the FBI. Knowing their target's location, the FBI quickly sent a ground team. Hannah was now safe. In 2018, a teenage soccer team from Thailand, 12 players and their coach, went missing inside a complex cave system. The search operation quickly grew massive, involving around 1,000 people, police, Navy SEALs, and volunteer divers from the US, Britain, and China. After 9 tense days, the children and their coach were finally found alive. The cave is notorious for being easy to get lost in, which is why visitors are warned not to venture more than about 2,600 feet deep. When the team entered, the cave was dry, but then a sudden heavy rainstorm hit, trapping them inside. At first, the kids could still move around on dry ground, but as floodwaters rose, the narrow passages filled with mud and debris, making it nearly impossible to see or move. They were eventually found about 2.5 miles from the cave entrance. British divers were the ones who discovered the missing teenagers, ending the 9-day ordeal.